Alrighty, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this, whatever time you're watching this. So, this is Superkickin with Steven, with your favorite host right here, Stephen A. 1181. We got the Greg one over there. How are you doing this morning, Greg?
Hey, good man. It's another weekend. A lot of action going on. Some good wrestling this weekend, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, we got AEW Revolution to talk up. We have big news coming out of AEW, which right there, boom. Let's just get right into it, Greg, because Tony Khan promised a big announcement, and I think he finally delivered one of these times. So, he buys ROH. It's interesting because that gives a lot of video on demand that they can use, video library, which I think is the biggest reason to buy it. But it also feels like maybe they could use that as a sort of developmental, like their NXT 2.0 is what I'm reading. And, it's funny. People are still saying maybe Cody Rhodes finds his way back there, Greg. But the name I'm thinking of? William Regal. I'd say back up that Brinks truck. Get William Regal involved with that in. Look what he did for NXT. Him and Triple H were pretty much spearheaded of the black and gold brand as we know it. And, and even Samoa Joe. I think, yes, I would love to see him wrestle, Greg, but I think he has a mind for wrestling too. Yeah. So I can only imagine what him and William Regal could do together, split up territories, go scout talent. You'd have William Regal with a hand in the European landscape. You have Samoa Joe with who knows how many connections. So, throw those out there. And like I said, Ring of Honor could be, it's not dead yet. It could bounce back even better. And like I said, be a more developmental type of, land for AEW. They also did say maybe, at times, because you got to think, there's a lot of Ring of Honor guys in AEW that could bounce back and forth if, maybe if they were going to do some pay-per-view or something like that. So I guess I looked at WWE, they probably weren't as vested because if you think about their landscape, there's not a lot of Ring of Honor guys. And with no network, you just have Peacock. And I feel like they're not uploading much there anyway. So was it really worth it to even put the money, like if you saw CM Punk, you saw Daniel Bryan, you'd want that library for their matches. But at the same time, it just felt like WWE was probably like, we'll throw some bait out there. If they don't like it, they don't like, I don't think they were making a huge push. I think Tony Khan was like chips all in, to the table, open up the checkbook and be like, okay, what number do we look at? So what do you think, Greg? What are you thinking about Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor? Does it have a revision coming up soon?
You have to think so. You wouldn't buy it just for the library, I don't think. Ring of Honor is still a huge name in the probably the biggest name on the independent wrestling scene. And the lineage of all the superstars now coming through Ring of Honor is long and very extensive. So that library is very valuable. If we want to see early CM Punk matches, early Daniel Bryan matches, early Adam Cole matches, tons of guys through that end up in the Bullet Club. Finn Balor, I think Kenny was through there for a while. Just the names of the old school guys and guys who are big names now. When they were just getting started, they're part of that library. You mentioned Samoa Joe. He's a big part of it. And so I would be down for going and watching those old matches because I'm fans of all those guys. And I'm sure there's tons of guys that came through the system that I don't know about because I've never watched a single Ring of Honor show, but just know about the reputation of it. And seems like everybody has spent a few minutes in Ring of Honor. So I know it's a big deal. I know that Ring of Honor had their last show in January, and then they were going on a hiatus, released all their wrestlers, and said we'll be back in April. But they're having issues with money and keeping a product out there. And now you sell your name and your library and to Tony Khan, a guy with deep pockets, major network backing, and a startup company with AEW that he's already put on the rocket ship and is rivaling WWE right now. So you can hook your wagon to a better guy. So I think that it's going to end up relaunching Ring of Honor. You can still set it up the same way in the sense that, the Ring of Honor rules,
like the
they
code
mentioned
of honor.
the code of honor, exactly. And, some of the matches that they're known for, you can still keep that intact, but now you have more talent to pull from. You have, uh, you can use it as a 2.0, but keep it exactly Ring of Honor style. You just add in, some more flair to the production, some more access with eyeballs. You may be able to get it on TNT or TBS. Give them some additional programming and expand the Ring of Honor to more eyeballs than it's ever had. Because I can never tell you what channel ROH was ever on, which is part of the reason I never watched it. So the exposure he gets from aligning with AEW is huge, and now it's his. He can do what he wants with it, and I think that legacy is too rich for him just to let it sit on the shelf and not do anything with it. So he's going to do something big with it, an invasion angle just to get us familiar with the ROH guys would be a great idea, I think. And then you can springboard that into Ring of Honor's own show. And then you have, no more Forbidden Door. You own both companies, but you can cross over those ROH guys as much as you want and increase their star power.
Yeah. And, we always talk up Tubi, Greg. So if you do want to catch Ring of Honor at any time at all, you could get Stir TV, and there's literally a channel called Ring of Honor, and there's hour shows. And I've later realized, Greg, Pluto TV has Impact Wrestling like 24/7. So we are all about the free TV streaming ideas. I'm sure you are. I am. Pluto TV I've loved. A side note, there's also a game show type network, Greg, that shows Bob Barker era Price is Right. So if you have it for sick day, you can just throw that on there. There's also some just another game show network, but the Impact
Skinny
Wrestling
Mike for the win.
Yeah, there you go. The Impact Wrestling has been interesting just to turn on, and they've had some TNA style pay-per-view show up. They've had, Impact Wrestling. They've had recent episodes. And then, like I said, the Stir TV has Ring of Honor literally as its own channel. And at any point, you could tune in and find that. So, Tubi, Stir TV, Pluto TV, we're looking at you if you, want to throw a little sponsorship for BW Sports. We are ready for it. So sign the check. Also, the question is, Greg, so now that they have Ring of Honor library, I think we need AEW streaming somewhere. I've heard HBO Max, and if that is the case, I'll love it because I have HBO Max, and I'd rather not bite the bullet of $60 for a pay-per-view, and have to just watch it. I mean, I guess they would still do it on pay-per-view possibly, but having a AEW tag on HBO Max would be nice, but we got to see some sort of streaming somewhere, correct? I mean, I feel like why buy, and now that All Out was under the Ring of Honor umbrella, now the Ring of Honor, or now All Out, the original, pay-per-view is available to watch, hopefully sooner rather than later. What do you think, Greg? Where might we see AEW work with, streaming?
Yeah, I think you have to go with one of the movie networks. HBO Max would be a great idea. The only reason to stay away from the Fox and the NBC affiliated networks is because it is more rated R content as far as the language they use and the blood, things like that. Is more fitting for HBO or Showtime or one of the movie networks that's known for that type of content. So it just fits in naturally. So like you, I got an HBO Max subscription too, so I would love to see it on there. But it's the next logical step because the days of paying $50 to buy a pay-per-view is going the way of the dodo. So I'm sure they're seeing it because you can put together the biggest card possible, but the number of people who are going to shell out $60 to watch it, are dying by the droves. And streaming is the best way to go. You get guaranteed dollars, and you probably get bonuses from the network for pulling in the viewership numbers and getting a big number. So I'm pretty sure it will happen before, at the latest by the end of the year.
Yeah, that's what I was curious. Yeah.
They're pretty hot properties, so once they start, pitching, getting on a network, a streaming network, somebody's going to scoop them up pretty quick.
When do you think we could see some Ring of Honor type stuff? I'm going to assume next year. I feel like you really want to get everything kind of lined up. You don't. It's not like you have to rush it. Especially if now, granted, AEW has a pretty loaded roster, so it probably would be better to start it up a little bit earlier, and then you can get, guys like Sunny Kiss on there, or some of these lower level tier talent that the Varsity Blondes, people like that, to kind of get them more TV time. But when do you think, Greg? When do you think we might see some Ring of Honor viewing?
Probably a good 6 to 8 months down the road, just because from what I've seen of the Ring of Honor content, it looks pretty grainy and old. You're gonna have to put some shine on it, give it, the HD treatment.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be some editing and some shine that needs to be put on that apple. And for as long as Ring of Honor's existed, that's gonna be a lot of footage. That's gonna be a lot of editing. That's gonna be a lot of upgrading to be done. So just because of the sheer mass of the ROH library, it's going to take some time before it's ready to be presented and rolled out. You don't want it looking like, your old 80s TV, all, pixelated and fuzzy. And, you want it looking great, crystal clear like TV now. So it's going to take a while to get it there. So another 6 to 8 months. Again, the beginning of the year is probably ideal for having it come out looking brand new and, ready for everybody. A new generation of us, even us old heads who haven't watched any of it, to be able to enjoy it and understand it.
And I mean, that's what's funny about, like, when you think about ECW stuff on the network and now Peacock, it still has, like, they didn't even touch it other than getting rid of, the music they couldn't pay for, which really sucks because nothing beats seeing Sandman coming out to generic rock riff number 5, as he's coming out. But and then last question, does Cody Rhodes find his way back to AEW because of this? I saw some people rolling with that, but then also I've seen Cody Rhodes is still listed for Mania. He's listed internally for Mania. It's just weird, Greg, isn't it? Like, we kept thinking Cody, I feel like Cody needed time to decide what he, I didn't think he was going to jump ship like the next day. That's a big decision. It's not like you're just, it's not like us jumping from job to job. You know what I mean? Like, I could quit tomorrow, find a new job next week and be fine, or what, this is a pretty major decision for him, So does Cody Rhodes somehow? Do you think the bridge might be repaired there between him and Tony Khan, Greg, or is it all WWE for Cody Rhodes?
Yeah, I'm seeing those same rumors and speculation going around too. I saw something about Cody leading the ROH invasion of AEW, and it would make sense because Cody was the face of the launch of AEW. And he was pretty much one of the tips of the spear. Him and Jericho pretty much were the pillars, to use a term they use now, of the beginning of AEW. The first show, the first on-air product. They did a couple pay-per-views before they became an official show in October, but it was all Cody number one, Jericho number two, and the way he spearheaded that, he could do the same thing, pivot over to ROH and spearhead that. It'd be a great move for his legacy. He's a big deal now. He wasn't when he left, and he is now. So I see it and I would like it. It'd be a great kind of swerve to the fans that we all know that he's out of the company, out of his contract, and seem primed to return to WWE. To that end, I've also seen reports that the writers' room is busy working on his return angle.
Yeah.
So it's very fluid at the moment because both scenarios are very feasible. Exactly. Yeah. And Vince has a track record of doing this, letting the guy go. Guy goes off into the world, perfects its craft, becomes a bigger deal, and Vince brings him back in and gives him more shine, kind of earning his spot back in. Cody's definitely done that. I mean, he left the Stardust. I mean, he was a shell of himself, and he's left. He's become a Hollywood star. He's heading a variety show. He's had his own reality show, and he's been one of the pillars of AEW. So the major competition. So getting his face back on your product, the little crossfire he can do, taking shots at AEW now. He's got to love that. So he's going to come back as a bigger deal because he left as nothing and now he's coming back as a big deal. So I think that WWE is more likely just because they're going to be able to probably throw more money at him and give him a chance to run with the storyline that he's developed himself by becoming a big star since he's been gone.
All right. Oh man, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it, as you can tell. Anyway, so I think that's all we can talk about there. Let's bring this up, Greg. I did not watch Pat McAfee's actual live interview. I've just read stuff about it, and with Vince, it sounds like Vince was very low key. Like from some of the clips I've seen, it didn't seem like he was the Vince McMahon character. Other than, announcing that McAfee has a match, which we saw last night will be against Austin Theory. That's, that had to happen. I'm so glad they're not doing Vince in the ring. That was why that was even out there. I don't know. Vince must have put that out to Meltzer and all those people just to see what they would run with it. And then we also heard that Vince is going to induct Undertaker, which I thought was a bit surprising. I mentioned, Greg, that Vince likes to stay in the background. I keep thinking, why is he not induct himself? Like, why is Vince McMahon not in the Hall of Fame? But anyway, and he said it's going to be, I do know the clip I saw, he said it's going to be hard. And that's interesting. That shows we we're just so used to the Vince McMahon character, bigger than life person. It's going to be interesting to see him, kind of show that, break down that fourth wall, as we say, show them more, maybe the side that only a few people, have seen. So, which you can run with either one, Greg. You can, if you want to talk up the inductee of Undertaker, and that's why I keep saying, why is Undertaker not being the only guy inducted? Like, I am curious if they'll just, with it airing after SmackDown, you do wonder if it'll be all about the Undertaker somehow. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to get the most shine. He's going to get the longest thing. And then, of course, McAfee versus Austin Theory. I think that's a route to go. And we saw it kick off last night. You wonder if McAfee might show up on Raw to kind of get his comeback on, Austin Theory. Does Vince get involved somehow? We've seen Vince involved in storylines. KO gave him a nice headbutt before. So yeah, it Austin Theory and Pat McAfee, McAfee's third match ever. He's had a couple with Adam, one with Adam Cole, one was in War Games, and now he gets Vince McMahon's Golden Boy. I mean, either McAfee is the biggest kiss up there or legit loved. And I think it does seem like he's loved. I think it because he brings the fandom to it. And obviously he brings his gigantic audience, because who knows, that now you might have some Pat McAfee viewers tune in to WrestleMania to see him, wrestle. So, what do we think about that, Greg? McAfee, Austin Theory for WrestleMania, and then we'll go the Undertaker, Vince inductor type route.
Yeah, I'm here for it. After seeing that match he had with Adam Cole, I was sold. I thought it was going to be a horrible match. I didn't like the idea of it. It wasn't the first time that a guy has come over from, pro football or pro basketball or whatever other pro sport out there and tried to have a wrestling match. You have Hollywood actors and whatnot come through, and with the exception of a couple people here and there, it's always been a waste of time. And watching that NXT takeover with McAfee and Adam Cole, that match blew my mind because it was so great. Of course, Cole carried the match, but Pat McAfee hit some great moves that you wouldn't have expected coming off of him. Just looking at his size, being able to do flips and top rope moves, and his athleticism, you would not expect that. I mean, in the NFL, he was a punter. I mean, how athletic do you expect the punter to be? So, not like he was a dominant linebacker coming through. This is a punter, and that match
Greatest
was
punter
nominated.
of the millennium, though, Greg. Come on now, give him his props.
Yep,
and the one hit on that return where he got tested the next day. Did you know that? He made a big hit on a return, kickoff return, and he actually got drug tested the next day. Surprisingly. By the way, who do you think is going to kind of lead this match? Because this is what tough. Like you brought up Adam Cole. Adam Cole's, a 15, 20-year veteran. I mean, you have McAfee, not a veteran, or not even a rookie. I mean, third match ever, like I said. Then you have Austin Theory. I mean, I guess Theory will kind of have to. This is probably a big test for Theory to really show that he can, call a match in the ring type deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And you think of it in the sense that he's going to have to lead the dance, but he's had great tutelage. I mean, with Johnny Gargano in the way, sitting under that learning tree. Everybody that's been down there in an NXT system, Hunter, Sean, Adam Cole, so he's had plenty of opportunities to get his training in, learn the psychology of it, learn how to call a match effectively. He's been in there with, the vets of the game and the big time vets of the game, like Finn Balor and the people he's been wrestling lately. So he hasn't had that pressure, but I'm pretty sure he would know how to do it, and this is going to be his first chance at it. And I'm sure everybody in the back is going to help them, fishbone an excellent match. So
Mhm.
seeing McAfee's athleticism and knowing what um, what he can do, Austin Theory, I'm excited for like a super athletic, uh, crazy high spot type of match going on that could be a candidate to steal the show. I mean, that match that McAfee had with Adam Cole was nominated for Match of the Year.
Mhm.
So nobody saw that coming. And this is on the WrestleMania stage. They're going to pull out every trick in the bag that they have. And this could be a surprise of the night type of match.
And then what do you think about Vince McMahon being the inductor of the Undertaker? I mean, yeah, I guess it makes sense in a way. I mean, he created it. He's going to create it and he's going to destroy it, right? I mean, that's essentially
True.
what he's doing. He's so yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, we pegged other people to be the person to induct the Undertaker, but it makes perfect sense. The Undertaker transcends WWE. He
And
he's
Vince
made
does too.
Vince more money, right? He's made Vince more money than any other wrestler ever.
Mhm.
Um, as far as the eyeballs he's brought to the product, the money that's you know rang up in the cash register. Nobody's been a bigger, more iconic star in probably all of wrestling than the Undertaker. And it was, a Vince McMahon creation, but it took Undertaker to take that character and do something with it and make it
And to
his
evolve
own.
with it.
Right. Like that package shows, going from, you know, the Undertaker to the American Badass, back to the Undertaker. Those evolutions, the
Because
tweaks he made to his game, um, it kept us interested. How many guys have come up with the same gimmick and don't do anything with it, and we get sick of them after a few years, not to mention a few decades. This has been going on for almost 40 years.
I
So,
wonder, Greg, if he didn't evolve, would he have the career he had? If he just stayed the Undertaker, I mean, people probably would have been tired of it. And I think even he was a little bit tired of it. And you think about the landscape of the world. I mean, it's a little bit deeper, but WWE was moving away from characters a little bit then. So
yeah,
you almost had to do it. Not had to, but like I'm sure he could have just kept going Undertaker route, dead man, but at the same time, it almost had to happen, just like Hogan had to turn, stuff like that. The only one that didn't have to turn was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I was still hold by that, Greg, that he should have never turned heel. I mean, we got some fun out of it, but in the same time, wasn't really worth it. So, but anyways, yeah.
true.
So it's interesting to notice that. Now, did you get a chance to catch this whole interview live, Greg, or did you just kind of like me and catch pieces and bits of it?
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I just watched SmackDown, so I figured that I was going to get whatever news he was
Happened.
going to break on
Yeah.
on SmackDown. So no, I didn't watch it yet.
Okay. I just wasn't like I said. It seemed from the clips I got, it was Vince McMahon pretty low key. Just straight up, almost like him and him and Austin interview. It really didn't seem to push um, the storyline like we maybe thought, other than announcing, telling Pat that he had and even then he made it almost like just like a conversation. He didn't make it a storyline. You know what I mean? So you do wonder if
Right.
maybe now that it is in a storyline mode, we might get more of the Mr. McMahon character. But yeah, is there any other news, Greg, that you might have caught that I kind of figured these were the two big, these are pretty big pieces. So right now I'm looking and we've already talked 30 minutes just on these things. So I want to make sure we got time for Revolution predictions. But if you got any last story or any piece of news that you want to throw out there, feel free, or we'll take a quick commercial break and get to our next stuff.
Yep, let's keep it going. On to the
Raw,
week that
SmackDown,
is.
and yep. All right, well, let's do a quick commercial break, and then we'll get right into that. So with our Raw review, Greg, today I'm going to do the one thing I always tell my kids that I work with not to do, which is to jump around in a retelling of a story. I always say you're supposed to go first, then next, and last. But Greg, I know where you want to start, because let's just get right into it. Your boy and my boy Finn Balor is the new U.S. champion. I mean, and what's funny, Greg, is that title looks so damn big on him. I'm sorry. Like he did not put it on his waist yet, because that thing is just so huge. But anyways, now the only thing I didn't like is the end. Damian Priest gave us the "you people did not support me." And let's face it, I mean, we talked him up a lot on here, Greg. The fans were loving him. I mean, but it is, it is what it is. That's the old heel trope, whichever way you're supposed to say that word. But Finn wins it. And then, of course, we have on SmackDown the new IC champion. Pretty interesting names. Ricochet winning last night, Greg, and Finn Balor are now our new mid-card champions. Like, did we foresee that this year happening? Because I'll be honest, I did not. But I mean, a really good match. And like I said, now I hope Damian Priest moves up a little bit up the card. And I hope that Finn Balor brings back like the U.S. Open Challenge, the U.S. title. I think that would be a good way for him to, get some names out there. Maybe guys that, maybe like a Montez Ford, give him a couple, give him a shot to kind of see what he could do singles wise, even though we've seen it. But Dominic Mysterio, I know he's Dominic, but still it'd be a good shot for him. So have at it, Greg. Is this justice for Finn yet?
Yes, this is what I'm talking about right here. I've been pushing for it for how many months? Hashtag justice for Finn. And, put it out in the universe and let it take care of it. And we finally got some justice for Finn. Thank you, wrestling gods, for finally putting some sense into the writer's room in WWE, because it's been a long time coming, putting some respect on Finn's name. Have him doing all these jobs, and the disaster in the Roman Reigns match. So much wrong that needed to be rectified, and this is getting it right finally. He's earned that strap. He's been a good boy. He's followed the company line, and now he gets his payoff. Now we need a good long title reign, because so many juicy matchups putting anybody in the ring with Finn. You're going to get a banger of a match. So yes, this is finally justice for Finn, and I am stoked about it. Damian Priest, like I said last week, this is the chance for him to pivot into something bigger. Now he's done his heel turn. He can start doing heel things, maybe go after a top guy and put himself in a bigger program. The world opens up for him, because, number one, I like that somebody must have got to him backstage and go, the whole two sides is just dumb. It looks bad with the Damian side and the Priest side. You notice they finally got away from that, going to that
they
place.
didn't even mention it at all.
Right. You leave that for Randy Orton and figure out your own thing. So At least there's been that. He's gone away from that, and he just embraced the full heel mode, and like you said, do the basic, heel soliloquy at the end. You guys didn't back me up, yada yada yada. But now let's see you be a heel, because some guys are just natural heels, and they're much better at being heels than being a babyface. So I hope he can pull it off. It's going to take some more imagination, some more creativity, but you get more rope when you're the villain, to act on your impulses to do dastardly things and get that heat. So I hope he can pull it off. But shout out to Finn. Finally, we got you justice, sir.
Well, I'm going to bring it up, Greg. So the end saw Edge also heel turn. And I'm like, I mean, Damian Priest is a lot like Edge. Maybe they do a little tag team run just to give a higher working with Edge as a tag team partner. What better way? Now, Grant, we already got Seth and KO, kind of the heel team, but, Edge and Damian Priest, kind of the same likeness and whatnot. Edge unleashed his old school self on AJ Styles, which I'm kind of, I guess I'm good with it. He didn't wet the hair. He had the locks flowing, Greg. I don't know if he was borrowing Beth's product to kind of get that poofy look going like his hair, but he's got the old facial expressions. But I'm like, man, him and Damian Priest, maybe summertime, maybe they make a little tag team run, because I mean they're built the same way now that they're both playing up the heel side. I know it's not necessarily a step up, but at the same time, it's working with Edge. I mean, what better way to hone your craft to figure out how you're gonna, like you said, not be the Damian, Lucifer character, but more of just a vicious side than following Edge's, footsteps, like RK Bro or RK Rated RKO back in the day, Edge and Randy Orton. And I think Edge probably wouldn't mind taking. I mean, obviously he's working with AJ Styles, so he'll get that out of the way, and who knows what's next for him. So I was glad AJ Styles answered the call. It makes a lot of sense, because when he said the words, "I need a phenomenal opponent," I was like, it's got to be AJ. Like that I know that line right there. Like, it's just one little line, but like you said, Edge is very calculated, and it's just amazing what one little line can do. And then the heel turn, like I said, really. And I kind of like AJ as a face better. I know it's weird to, it's always weird because usually we love them going heel, but I think AJ as the bulldog, as the underdog, just trying to claw and, grind his way back. That's the AJ Styles that, I mean, going way back TNA days, Impact Wrestling days, that's what everybody loved. And I think that's what, I think this is going to be, it's funny how they just did a double turn. Now you're going to have AJ trying to overcome Edge at WrestleMania, which he probably will, but or maybe they'll do a trilogy. Who knows? We love the 3 matches, the trilogy matches. So, maybe Edge does get the upper hand, but definitely probably a needed heel turn for Edge as well. Don't you think?
Yeah, I can see it. I didn't expect it, because it seemed like, this would just be
A respect type match.
right, into the the fantasy booking masterpiece category. You just have 2 A guys, top guys going at it, and best man wins type thing. But they saw that you need to define the roles. One guy has to be the bad guy, one guy has to be the good guy, and I understand that. So I like how the segment turned out. I was not a fan of the concertos at the end, just because going back in the day, a concerto would put you on the shelf for months, and now he's going to be back in less than a month. Over on AEW, Christian did a concerto, or Adam Cole took a concerto and was wrestling the next week. So the concerto has kind of been defined down, but
Mhm.
I guess it gets the point across for the savageness of it. So um, I think you could have got the same effect just by the kicking the balls and you know, something less uh, impactful than the concerto. Leave it in WWE lore as such a destructive maneuver, but it is what it is. It defines him as being the bad guy now, especially hitting him with it twice.
Yeah.
And so now the roles are set, and we're gonna get, and the Edge is probably better as a heel anyway, um,
Mhm.
being
That's
Mr.
what I was
Goody
wondering.
Goody.
Like in this regard, Edge probably makes more sense to be the heel.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you could have had AJ just totally take him out, but it looks so much better with Edge doing it. And man, this must be WrestleMania season because AJ Styles takes a kick to the balls. I definitely think he's done having kids, Greg. So I guess that's why he just like, well, you got to think back to WrestleMania 34. Nakamura does it to him. I feel like Brock did it to him before. And now we have Edge. I mean, that guy,
yeah,
that's,
that's true.
they're just like, yeah, it's AJ Styles. Let's kick him in the balls. Like, why not? So, anyway, so some of the other stuff, Greg, I mean, those were the big. Obviously, it's funny that they did it almost back to back, the way that they ended the show, but both pieces had important, aspects to them.
Yeah,
What else? So Seth Rollins and KO defeated the Alpha Academy, which kind of makes me think they won't win next week because now we're getting the triple threat at RK Bro. We're getting the Alpha Academy. We're getting Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. And it probably leads more to your idea that we'll probably get Seth and KO against RK Bro at WrestleMania. Are we leaning that way, Greg, now?
yeah. I still think Alpha
What's the
Academy is
Alpha
going to be
Academy
the
do?
on. You know,
Maybe Street Profits?
yeah, Street Profits would make sense. They've been going round and round with them for a while. Um,
Could you throw the Hurt Business? I mean, they picked up a win over the Mysterios.
there could be like a number one contenders match and just
Mm-hmm.
throw 3 or 4 teams in the mix,
Yeah.
just so you have some stakes on the line. You can't have a match there without the stakes
Yeah.
at WrestleMania. So you throw a carrot in there like that. The team who wins this is the number one contender. Then, boom, you got your incumbents in there with the Alpha Academy, Street
Mm-hmm.
Profits, um, and then you can throw in, whoever else you want in the mix,
Mm-hmm.
and give them some shine too. So a match like that would make sense.
At least next week should be a fun match. So with those, pretty much the top three tag teams right now, really going at it. I think that that's that should be the main event just to kind of play that up. So almost defeated T-Bar. I don't know what the hell almost is going to do. Is he going to do anything at WrestleMania? Probably the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Maybe he's probably the hands-on favorite for that, right?
True. Yeah. There's no storyline there for him, so um, that
And
would make the
T-Bar's
most
still a
sense for
thing,
him.
Greg. Did you know that? I had no idea T-Bar was still. Where's Mace? We haven't seen Mace either. So,
That's true. We haven't seen him on the
but
cut list, so they're sitting at
makes
home
me
getting paid.
makes me
So
wonder.
good for them.
But yeah, I feel like almost probably that's Andre the Giant Battle Memorial Royal thing, a majig that never means anything.
Right.
Other than like I said, I've always remembered Cesaro won it and Corbin won it, and then did either Matt Hardy or Bray. I thought one of them won it one year, which was weird. That might have been the weird WrestleMania one where they teamed up. But anyway, so the face team of Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Liv Morgan defeated Becky Lynch, Doudrop, and Nikki Ash. We have to have Becky or Bianca looking big, obviously heading to her match.
Mhm.
I'm going to assume Liv, Doudrop, and Nikki Ash in the women's, battle memorial. Whatever, I forget what we call that one. Whatever the women's version is.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley. There was an interesting tweet that Lita had thrown out that she would love to face Rhea Ripley. at WrestleMania. I wonder, do you think we could get Lita and Rhea Ripley going at it?
I don't see why not. I mean, Lita doesn't have a dance partner, and if she wants to be in the show, you find a way to get her in the show.
I think I would do that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was thinking Rhea and Doudrop just with the two hosses two powerhouses, but if not, then yeah, give her Lita. So Tommaso Ciampa defeated Robert Roode. That just playing up the NXT stuff, Greg. I mean, cool for Ciampa to be able to bounce back and forth, right?
Absolutely. And I still think it's a screen test to see if they want him on the main roster.
Yeah, that could be.
Because, Stand and Deliver is going to be the trilogy match with him and Braun Breaker. Mm-hmm. So he loses this one, it's time to come up. And I like that he's getting the screen time. Exactly. Yeah. And he's looking good on, the main roster. And, Vince and everybody is watching in the back, see how they like this guy. So I think that's what happens is that he ends up on the main roster day after WrestleMania.
And then we had the makeout match. We just had a bunch of kissing, Greg, between Reggie, Dana, Tamina, and Akira. I'll admit, Greg, it's going to be funny to watch like Tozawa be a little puppy dog following Tamina, which who would have ever thought Tamina would be the object of anyone's lust, Greg, but that's what we're getting.
Right.
Is that all we have to say there?
Yeah. Tamina is such a team player. I mean, from supposed to be the most hardcore woman on the roster to
at least she she initiated the kiss. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
she grabbed him. So
hey, she gets as a actor for the last couple decades, you get a role where you get a love scene, like, yeah, buddy. So, shout out to her. It goes both ways. So, hey, shoot your shot, Tamina.
Yeah. Hurt Business defeated Mysterios. That was because The Miz was involved. I'm going to assume we'll get Logan Paul back probably in a couple weeks to, the Mysterios obviously have to get their upper hand at some point, you would think. Or unless we're just going to wait. I feel like it's just going to happen at Mania. I mean, does Logan Paul need a freaking WrestleMania win on his belt? Probably not.
No.
So anything there with the Hurt Business and Mysterios? Because I don't really got anything for them.
Nah, next.
Okay. And then the Street Profits defeated RK Bro, which was kind of surprising since you have RK Bro involved in the tag team title match next week. But I still think they'll put up a good fight. And, it does seem like the Alpha Academy they'll probably sneak out a win somehow. And, if they do sneak out some win, it still keeps all three of those teams involved. So I guess you could still do a WrestleMania match between all three and maybe throw in the Street Profits, maybe even throw in the Hurt Business. Have every tag team involved because at this rate, it's all hands on deck anyway. I mean, we got 2 nights, so you might do it. I hate to throw it in the kickoff show, but you might throw it there, Greg, unfortunately, just because, you got bigger plans for the rest of the cards. So, but yeah, that was Raw because like we said, we're probably doing a little bit quicker, try to get to the Revolution because that's going to be tomorrow night. And now I did forget to mention, though, that Brock is defending tonight.
Yeah, Madison Square.
I have no idea, Greg, who there was like no idea. And then, it said, I think Roman said he's defending too against somebody. But I don't. So we'll just get right in. Well, we'll get into NXT real quick, then we'll get to that. But anyway, so NXT. So I want to bring up, Greg, LA Knight laying out the last man standing. Does that mean it's probably a good way for LA Knight to go away and maybe debut after Mania? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I like it. A good last man standing match, and this is the perfect way to go out. If you're going to go out big, and you saw Adam Cole do it with Kyle O'Reilly in a cage match on his go out match. Kyle O'Reilly had the same type of match with Von Wagner. Big match, and then get out of Dodge. So this could be that thing for LA Knight. And, Waller wins, and it's still, you leave him as a massive
The
heel
top
with big heat,
Yep.
and the next guy is going to be elevated going against him. And with all those uh, new guys down there, and that talent we haven't seen that is untested, they're going to need all the heat they can get, and all the um, that elevation from being the guy opposite Waller. So Waller's kind of the catalyst in all of this. So, but being in there with Knight's going to help him look great, because he's going to, put him over big and make him look good. And yeah, absolutely. Night after WrestleMania, turn up and hopefully get that segment with the Miz I've been champing about, and just take over Miz TV and be, the mouthpiece of Raw. So I
I'm
definitely
fine with
agree
that,
with you on
yeah.
that point.
Like I said, I mean, I think you could let him do a talk, segment. If you don't have a opponent in mind at first, you just let him do that for a couple weeks and see where it goes. So, Braun Breaker and Ciampa defeated the Dirty Dogs, Greg. Ciampa rocking the singlet. I actually liked it. I like, we always talk about, looking like a tag team, and both rocking that singlet, the little, I think and they even did the, what was it? I forget what the Steiner move is. It the neck breaker or whatever the Steiner move was. They
Right,
pulled
right.
that out, the bulldog off the top rope. So, so are we getting Ziggler and Ciampa, or Ziggler and Breaker next week? Or did we already have? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Ziggler and Breaker
then,
next year.
Yeah. So, and then Stand and Delivers, obviously, Breaker and Ciampa, like we said, the last match between those two. So, kicking off at noon, I saw. So we'll probably that WrestleMania Saturday, we'll probably kick off a little bit earlier, Greg, so we have time to do those predictions, and then actually get time to watch it live. But it's just coming up. It's sneaking up on me. I forgot today. We look at the calendar. It's already March. So,
Yep.
One of my favorite months, though. I think it's like that. It's like that tease before summer, because you got the weather kicking a little bit differently. You have March Madness. You have sports. Well, we'll see if baseball kicks off. That doesn't seem like it will. But anyway, so you it's one of the best months. I think so. What else? Windy Chu, Dakota Kai, moving on, Greg. Any thoughts there?
Hey, let's go with it and see what happens. I think people are in on the Windy Chu gimmick, and let's ride this roller coaster, see if we can get her, up there as far as the popularity goes, and see what happens. Will they win? No, but she's a fun crowd favorite to get behind, and at this point, why not?
I kind of feel like they might be that sneaky. They could be that sneaky team to win it. I mean, it's just a random tag team, yes, but and then on the other side thing, Greg, is Persia and Duke going to end in heartache, because that's where it seems like it's going to go. I mean, it just seems to make the most sense. Now, last week it was interesting with the cell phone. I thought maybe, Indy might try to, play up like texting him from Persia's cell phone, because it seems like the cell phone keeps, showing up like in the backstage segments, and she had her locker opened. So I wonder, do you think that might play a part, Greg? We'll get some dirty-handed tactic from Indy to like text Duke from Persia's phone, and we get all that convoluted stuff.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that's happened. I mean, there's
Kevin
the
Nash.
yep, the
Kevin Nash and CM Punk and Triple H.
very
Woo.
true. I was thinking the old Candice LeRae bit with from I think last year.
Was it
But-
with? Yeah, that's true. With-
So it wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah,
Is the point. So
she learned for the best.
yeah, but I think the Duke and Persia, yeah, it's gonna end up with the team breaking up, and
Does
maybe
Persia stick
Persia.
with him then?
Yeah, then we got a little couples duel with
Pat.
Dexter and Indy.
Yeah. Because Dexter really hasn't done much, has he? Like late. I mean, I wonder what's going on like with him.
Well, they're working the injury angle, so it's possible
That's
maybe
true.
he really did get injured and they're just
That
covering
could
it
be.
up.
Yeah. All right. Last Lash Legend. She looks pretty solid. She defeated Mari Miller. How about Gunther over Solo, Greg? That was kind of a surprise. I mean, those are two guys that both need the win. So I hated them going at each other. But Gunther obviously picks up the win, because I still think NXT sees a lot in him. Yes, they changed the name, and the crowd is not with the name change yet because they're still chanting Walter, when he first comes out. But Gunther picking up the win over Solo is probably a bit of a surprise. I thought maybe Solo, I thought they were a little bit higher on Solo, so maybe he'd sneak out the win. But once again, we could get these as a back and forth kind of matches with them.
No, I saw it the other way. I think that nobody's beating Gunther for a while.
Okay.
And we've already got Solo earmarked for
After Mania.
WrestleMania or after Mania, PDQ. So no harm in nothing's going to, take off of his imminent arrival. So
Yeah.
him, being a strong win for Gunther isn't going to hurt him.
Yeah.
He's going to be on the bigger things very soon anyway. I can see them positioning Gunther. It sucks saying that name because I hate it so much, and I think the rest of the universe does too. But this could be moving towards a showdown with him and Breaker, with him being the clear heel and just the unbeatable heel. So he could be the next huge task for Breaker. And it makes perfect sense because he's been such a dominant champion. Gunther has
Yes.
in the UK for however many years in a row that he held it. He'd be the biggest challenge, and a Clash of Titans type title showdown. So I think that may be going where he's going with it. I don't think Gunther's going to lose until the possibility of that Breaker match happening.
Yeah, that would probably make a lot of sense to have Gunther as the next in line after Ciampa, and just let Braun and him have have all the matches over the summer and really go at each other. Yeah, Harlan defeated Draco. Anthony, I'm still kind of wondering if Draco ends up with the whole, Joe Gacy and Harlan crew, whatever we want to call that. Any thoughts there, Greg, on that that little match?
Yeah, nothing special about the match. It's all playing up towards the ending. Harlan ends it with a hug. So I agree with you. I think it's going to end up with him being part of the faction, and him drinking the Kool-Aid, the Gacy Kool-Aid.
Raquel Gonzalez and Cora Jade move on. No surprise there. I mean, like I said, I think it feels like them or Io and Kaylee Ray are the favorites. But then I talk outside the other side of my mouth, and I still think, it seems like WWE loves the random. I mean, Samoa Joe and Finn Balor won it before. I mean, now granted that led to the breakup and then but I don't know that there could be something between the Wendy and Dakota Kai team that they really love. So Von Wagner defeated Andre Chase. And then, of course, Carmel defeated Pete Dunne. I don't know what else this Pete Dunne needs to do down there, Greg. I feel like, write him off for some time and then have him debut after Mania, right? I mean, now that he's lost this, he lost the steel cage weapons match. I mean, what is he still doing down there?
Yeah, he's been a good boy and putting over the new guys. But yeah, it's his payoff is getting up to the main roster too. So they're going to have to make room for all this talent coming up. We already talked about Solo coming up, talked about him coming up, LA Knight coming up. So I think there's going to be another round of cuts before these guys make it up, but
Yeah.
it's they're all due. Pete Dunne has been main roster ready for a couple years,
Mm-hmm.
and I just hope they let him stay true to himself because they have a bad record of bringing these guys up and then changing the whole gimmick that made them successful. So as much as I want to see him up there, I just hope they do right by him because
Mm-hmm.
they've shown too many examples, like Keith Lee and Karrion Cross, and others have come up recently where they didn't do that. So with a hopeful heart, I hope they leave well enough alone, let these guys come up and shine as themselves.
All right, and then let's get into some SmackDown stuff. So Ricochet is our new Intercontinental Champion. I believe
Yes.
that's his first. That's his first singles title, right? He
No,
never
he's had the U.S.
the U.S. Okay, I couldn't remember if
Mhm.
he beat AJ for it or not. I knew they feuded, and I guess he did beat it. Obviously, not memorable because I don't remember it. But so it looks like they're kind of putting in some faith into Ricochet.
Finally,
No,
we've
I'm
been
knocking on wood over here, Greg, and
we've been
fingers
tipping up.
crossed
I
for
know
40
we've been
for him.
tipping our 40s for 40 for tipping the 40s for Ricochet for a while. I've already expressed many times how much I hate it that he's been relegated to losing all these quick matches, and you know when I saw him come out, new music,
Yeah.
uh, the new gear. The gear was fire, literally fire. Flames on his. But
We get it. He's fun.
it,
No, he's Kane.
it,
No.
right, but they're giving him some shine now. I mean, the he looked good on the screen. I love the new gimmick, and it looks like his new catch line is flawless. So, they want to put him over as flawless, and that handspring flip over the top into a dive was almost as flawless as you can get.
Mhm.
Finally, let Ricochet be Ricochet, and those moves look great. That match with Sammy was awesome. I mean,
Looked
there's
like Prince Puma, right?
he did. That was the most he's ever looked like Prince Puma, and that finish was awesome.
Mhm.
You had the distraction with Knoxville coming out, but
Which you
that
knew was going to
standing
happen.
right, but that standing Hurricane Rana to um, almost looked like a power bomb, but the velocity he hit it with, it just looked amazing. So great finish to the match, and I literally jumped out of my seat when he got the pin because like he's been so overdue for this. He's so much better than what they've been doing with him, and I was very hopeful after seeing you know the new gear, the new music, giving them some swag and putting them over, talking about flawless. Uh, I think they count for the number of times they used the word flawless in reference to him was about five. So they really want to get that over, and he
And
got the
now we have
win. So
and now we have Knoxville and Zane without the title, and that's fine.
yeah,
Because I kind of figured, I thought for sure because it would. At first, I was like, well, it makes more sense for Knoxville to try to distract Sammy, but Sammy, he overcomes it. But then Sammy got the upper hand last week, so of course
right.
Knoxville had to get something back. But people were complaining that they. But now I'm worried, Greg, will the IC title be on WrestleMania? Because there's a lot of stuff happening. So I'm sure you could put Ricochet in some match, but yeah. So that's my only that was because that was the thing. Like if you have Sami Zayn with the IC title, you knew it was going to be in a match, and now I'm a little
Mhm.
worried that maybe Ricochet might not have a match at Mania, but we'll see if he does. Maybe even if it's a open challenger sorts, I think I'd be fine with that because we don't really know who is up next. So Austin Theory and Pat McAfee, we kind of talked that up. How about Naomi defeating Carmella? I'm going to assume we're going to get Sasha and Zelina next week.
Yeah, they'll do the
Back and forth.
the back and forth as singles before the actual match. Standard operating procedure.
I mean, we're just assuming Naomi and Sasha win at Mania, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just don't see any.
Yeah, Carmella and Zelina have done nothing. Even the Zelina doing the whole Queen of the World gimmick has been gone for over a month. So I think they're sour on that too. So
Side note question: have you watched Corey and Carmella?
I have not.
Neither have I. Okay, well there we go. Drew defeated Jinder. Well, if there was hope for Ricochet, Greg, maybe there's hope for my boy Drew. He had his. I did love the sword at the dartboard. I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty funny. But hopefully he breaks the poker table next week. So nothing there though, Greg. Right? I mean, do you have anything to add to my stellar analysis of Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal?
Yeah. You're stuck with Drew versus Happy at WrestleMania. Sorry about your luck, kid.
Like I said, just throw Madcap in there and just have Drew kill them both. Like at this rate, but anyways, Roman. Well, we were supposed to have Nakamura and Boogs come out, but they got taken out by the Usos, and I assumed the Viking Raiders were going to come out there, but they didn't. But we had Roman out there. I liked how the commentary team made it like Brock is in Roman's head. I thought that was an interesting way to sell it because, Roman is always a step ahead. So now we got to see if Roman can overcome it a little bit with being, I hate underdog is a bad word for it, but, now that Brock is kind of in his head. So what do you think about the little Roman promo there? I tried to throw the words together, but yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. And, like I said, the volume in his voice, like now he's irritated by Brock, which is different for Roman to show.
Yeah, it's great as far as building it up, making it look good. That I was more impressed with the promo he did with Brock, setting up the whole ambush by the security guards. But that promo he was given, everything belongs to me. These announcers belong to me, and this crowd belongs to me, and this ring belongs to me. And the way he was saying it with such conviction and force, and you felt like he was talking down to you personally. And so that venom, that heat was coming through loud and clear in that whole promo. So I loved how he did that, and then how he suddenly turned and that security crew belongs to me. And, so it was perfect setup. And, he carried that over to this week. Like the promo is, kind of more of the same, but, with him finally showing some emotion and as far as being concerned about Brock instead of blowing off Brock, calling him big hillbilly or stuff he used to do. And realizing I have to take this guy seriously now. And so yeah, it was a great promo, and I've been really impressed with Roman's promo skills.
Oh, good, you did the same thing I did.
Yep, I did.
Clip it.
Roman's promo skills. Yeah.
Maybe we have a new word. We'll just call it a Romo, and then that's a Roman Reigns promo.
There you go. But don't say promo to Eddie Kingston. So,
yeah. What are we doing here? Sports entertainment. The Usos defeated Viking Raiders. So I don't know what the hell the Usos are going to do at WrestleMania, because you just defeated the team that you were supposed to face in Saudi Arabia, but you didn't. And then we got Sheamus and Ridge Holland messing with Big E's ATV. I mean, I guess I hate having these men multi-team matches, Greg, but there's really no solid contender for either side of things for tag teams, right?
No, not really. You can do New Day and Usos again, but you're just throwing it together with no build up,
I was
and
gonna
that
say
would
we
be a
still need
waste
some
of time.
spice to it.
Yeah,
Like maybe it's New Day's last chance or something like that.
right.
Like that whole while the Usos are then you play that whole asterisk of while the Usos are champs. So then if they lose it, they get they get the first shot. But
Right.
then even then, it seems like Sheamus and Ridge are going against the team of Big E and Kofi, since we can't say the New Day, even though that's what they are, and that's what's in their freaking
Interest music.
Titantron.
Yeah.
Anyways. And Ronda won, beat Sonya, and then added the ankle lock now, Greg.
Hey,
Kurt
there we
Angle must
go.
have passed it on to her.
Right. Teach her how to do it effectively, and I like the wrinkle that Charlotte's out there on commentary during the match and talking down. Oh, she's got the arm bar, one trick pony. I can get out of that, and and then have her unveil the ankle lock, and now there's a new weapon to worry about, and add some more fuel to the fire for Ronda and Charlotte.
Because it doesn't have it.
Right. So I like it. I still don't love the match, but it's an interesting wrinkle to throw in there.
And the ankle lock always looks cool because on the hard cam, like you really see the other person like grasping for the, like the arm bar's tough because you're kind of covering up the person and you can't see their expressions and their emotions. But the ankle lock is good because you got that person's face like crawling, for the rope, and and then you can even do the heel hook where you lay down on it. So it even looks worse. So, but I do see a lot of people saying, this just doesn't have the. I mean, it is going to main event night one, and Becky and Bianca probably deserve it more. But
yeah, true. And it's perfect for this with Ronda doing the ankle lock, because anybody who follows MMA, like me, and is going to look at the way Ronda applies that arm bar. It's like this is like a rest hold. There's no way that this is a legit arm bar, because we know what a legit arm bar looks like, and the elbow isn't bent like this. So she pretty much covers up the whole arm, and you see the elbow pointing out, and we know that's not a legit arm bar. So the ankle lock adds legitimacy to it, and we've seen it for decades with Kurt Angle and other guys who could effectively use it, and now there's more believability in it as far as ways Ronda can win.
Especially when you show like the torquing on it, like even though we know, you're not really like you said, though, it has some believability. Like, you put a legit ankle lock on, you're not feeling good afterwards. So
yeah. Weren't you watching that one night where Kurt Angle put it on Scotty 2 Hotty and turned his ankle all the way around? Oops. Yeah, that really happened. So he probably didn't mean for it to happen, but it happened. His foot turned all the way around and was facing the wrong direction. Oh. So it can happen.
Maybe I missed that one because I do not like injuries of that sort.
So. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. You can look it up. I was watching that night, and it was brutal to watch.
Scotty 2 Hotty.
Yep.
Man, he looks so different now, by the way, Scotty 2 Hotties. So anyway, all right. Well, let's just we'll take our last commercial breaks, and then we're going to get into Revolution because there are a lot of damn matches we have to talk of. So.
is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSPORTS1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
Alrighty, we're just going to jump into some Revolution talk, Greg. I guess one thing to mention from last night, we did see Eric Redbeard, speaking of names, come back. He did show up on the Brody Lee show, tribute show, and looks like I wonder if maybe he signed a contract, Greg, with AEW. But I do think the big thing is he's probably going to turn on Penta and Pac in the near future, because it looks like he makes a lot more sense for the House of Black, than Pac and Penta. So that's kind of the big thing I saw out of last night, Greg's Rampage. What do you think about Eric Redbeard in AEW now, possibly?
It's fine with it. It's good to see him back. I think we're going to see
Bryan Danielson is there too, so maybe they can reteam that freaking angle. Isn't he the one that put the truss on Roman? I think wasn't that whole? Remember when Roman was like getting stuff shoved on him, and that was supposed to be Eric Rowan doing it and Daniel Bryan, or the Pet. True. Maybe we could revisit the Pet. The big fake spider.
Right. So many bad gimmicks. Holy crap. Yeah. Just as I purged those memories from my mind, you bring them back. Yeah. But this is a chance for, to get all that stuff out of our minds again and do something better. Yeah. And yeah, you're right. He does look more in place with the House of Black than he does with, the Lucha Heavy Death Triangle. So I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen, but it is.
To dye that beard black, though? Can he still be Eric Redbeard?
No. It could be Eric Blackbeard now. So there you go.
He's going to be a pirate. Give him a little eye patch and a peg leg.
That's right. Put some braids in that beard.
Yeah, but Johnny Depp style, like have real scraggly. I guess Buddy Murphy has a little more. Buddy Matthews, sorry, he has some red in his beard. So, but anyways, let's just get into Revolution. Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, Stinger winning, Greg. That's all I got.
Agreed.
Is there any? I mean, the only thing I like about this is it is tornado tag, so everybody will be in the ring at once. And it's funny they're building this up as the first Tornadoes trios match they've had. But yeah. All right. How about this? Who are you calling, Greg, for your winner of the Face of the Revolution ladder match? Oh, sorry, I did forget to mention Christian Cage beat Ethan Page. Not in a cage match, but they still wrestled each other. And Christian Cage picks up a win in the year of our Lord of 2022, Craig, which, whatever. And Scorpio Sky is getting a title shot because, I don't know if you saw the tweet by Tony Khan, Greg. He bartered, by the way, yes, he used the word bartered. And I didn't know anybody who's ever used that word in the history of using words. He bartered with Dan Lambert to give a shot for Scorpio to get a TNT title shot Wednesday against Sammy Guevara. So, anyways, so we got Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Sparks, Wardlow, and Christian Cage. I'll let you have this one first, Greg. Who is your shot to win this brass ring?
Yeah, my heart wants Orange Cassidy, but my mind says it's got to be Wardlow because it's going to be finally the capstone to the MJF turn, or breaking loose from MJF. It's not really a turn, But by getting that, uh, that's going to be,
And if he wins it,
yeah, he gets a title opportunity.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's going to be the end of the Pinnacle uh, alliance, and then
Literally
onto
the
his
pinnacle of this.
right, and onto being a solo star finally. So
I'm definitely
Wardlow,
interested to see how Keith Lee performs in this, though. I'm sure we'll get Keith Lee, Powerhouse Hobbs, big beefy men slapping each other, as Big E likes to call it.
yep,
Keith Lee and Wardlow slapping hands. I'm going all in on Wardlow. I know Sammy Guevara just got the title, but with that whole clause of Wardlow works for MJF, and if he won the TNT title, he'd have to give it up. So you wonder if that would play a role into it. But this is, like you said, this is all Wardlow.
well, last week he said he'd get if he wins, he'll let him keep it though.
That is true. So he gave him that out. That's true. But it is MJF though, Greg. We've heard MJF say a lot of things. So, so this is all Wardlow. But I still think the big beefy men, and then like we said, we got we are pretty split now that Christian's in there. I still can't believe he beat Ethan Page. Whatever.
Yeah,
it is
I agree.
what it is. And Ethan Page, did you see he had a big announcement, Greg, that he is moving to the U.S. from Canada.
Hey.
From Canada, though. Like, it's not even like, is this up there with Renee Young at the time when she was like, her big announcement was a cookbook? Like that feels like the level of that. This whole tease of big announcements, and then it's, it'd be like me saying, oh, I'm moving down the street. Yay. Like,
right.
And then he's moving to Detroit because he said he'll be based out of Detroit Airport. And I'm like, so you're literally just jumping the border. You're not even moving to like Jacksonville. You're moving to, I guess he's got a lot of family there, but anyway, but I just found that funny. I'm like, wow, your big announcement is you're moving. It's as bad as the personal news. I'm quitting my job. Yay. But next slide, Chris Jericho, Eddie Kingston. I'm going all in on Eddie. I think Eddie needs this more than Jericho. It just, we haven't seen Kingston win a big one, have we?
No, we haven't.
So he's due. And I just think it's all, especially that promo from last week. Jericho is purely playing up the heel role, our smarky guy in there. And if Jericho is going away, I mean, I think I saw that. I thought I saw Buck Cherry's taking out Fozzy, Greg, by the way, which I was like, is this 2002? Like Buck Cherry is still a thing? But anyway, so I thought that was kind of funny. I'm waiting on Papa Roach to show up on that tour. So, but anyway, so Kingston I'm all in on Kingston in this match.
Yeah, I want to say Jericho, but he's done such a great job of like burying Kingston with as many shovels as he can get. But that's just so that when Kingston wins, it looks all the greater. So by overselling his own accomplishments and just beating him down as a low down indie wrestler who's never won anything, he's really laying it on thick. And so it's going to end with Kingston finding a way to get the win somehow.
Next up, this one you could go either way on, right? Here's my on the spot question: does Cesaro make a debut at Revolution tomorrow night, Greg?
I don't see it.
Or could he maybe wait till the Battle Royale at Double or Nothing? Because they always have that, Joker wild card. I mean, would there be a bigger spot for him to debut in?
Yeah, I don't know how at this moment how big a debut it is, just because yeah, we know who he is, but is he going to give us something new, something different? Because
That's true.
we've
Does he need that time away to
yeah,
reinvent himself a little bit?
yeah, he needs something more. So maybe he's been shackled by what WWE allows him to do,
Yeah.
character wise, creatively, and whatnot. But I want something that I haven't seen already out of him. I know what he looks like. I know how he wrestles, and I know he's pretty lacking on the stick. So
Yeah.
when he comes out, I want him to be a big deal, and I
Okay.
want to see why he's a big deal. So
Mhm.
if he got, something to him that I haven't seen before, uh, I haven't really seen him play like a vicious heel.
Mhm.
I would be down for that. Come out and just destroy somebody and be malicious about it. Um,
I brought up this match because
changes.
him and Danielson have a pretty good friendship outside the ring. You have
Yeah.
Adam Cole, obviously friend. Like, I don't know what he could do, in this match, but maybe after the match or something like that. Like, Brian's like, "Oh, I got somebody else in the wings to join us," and then you bring him out. But then again, you
hmm
could wait till Dynamite to do that too. Who are you predicting though for this match to win, Craig?
Yeah, I love this match. I think good bloody brawl, and I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring with Moxley. That he ends up choking out Danielson with that bulldog choke.
Mm-hmm.
And they both crumple to the mat, bloody messes, and then they can shake hands and decide to be partners.
Is it a cop out if I say it's a draw? I wonder, like, could you, like, because if you did the tap out, maybe a double pin, and then, like you said, Moxley drags up Danielson and just does the handshake to show that they're going to do this and make it a real thing. I mean, if I have to, I feel like I feel like I'd have to go with Moxley. It seems to make more sense because you had, Danielson kind of talking up, oh, I've got to bleed with, or Moxley saying I got to bleed with somebody or whatever. Was that Moxley who said that?
Yeah.
I can't remember. And then Brian saying, well, you'll bleed with me, or, will there be blood in this match?
Oh yeah, buckets of it.
Okay. Buckets.
Um,
More so
and,
than the dog collar.
well, no, there gonna be plenty of bloody matches on this thing.
Yeah.
But I can see something like I said, that bulldog choke, and Danielson passes out, which would be
And
kind of poetic.
and
Because
doesn't,
that's
tap out, but they just have to call off the match.
yeah, and this kind of poetic justice, because this is how Danielson has been taking people out
Mm-hmm.
by put them in that triangle
Yep.
until they pass out, and then letting the whole go. So has it done to him finally?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that way you can
So
say, I didn't lose the match, I passed out.
exactly.
So
Yeah. And I'll go with Moxley. Like, if I, like I said, I'll go with Moxley because it makes a little more sense for him to get the win out of this one. Speaking of dog collar matches, how about that bloody affair we saw on Dynamite? And then MJF with the exact same words that Punk had used back in Punk's like Summer of Punk phase. I'll let you go, Greg, because I keep flipping back and forth on who should win or who will win.
I know I feel the same way. This last
Because MJF got such the bigger hand.
Wednesday was awesome.
And that's what's tough. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think you have MJF get the upper hand that much and still pick up the win.
true. MJF has been playing it so masterfully, though.
Yeah.
He left us all scratching our heads with that insane promo from last week,
Mm-hmm.
where he actually got us sympathetic towards him.
Yeah.
We're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and haha, a bunch of
And
losers,
it
you fell
did.
for it. And yeah, he had us all. We were even the announcers, Shivani and
Mhm.
everybody in the booth who hate him. They're like, man, okay. I don't want to say I like the guy, but I feel for him, and we all kind of felt that way. And then this week the promo is just as solid, um, kind of odd and cathartic. And then he goes with the kick to the cradle, and then the full heel comes out and uh, bloodies him up. MJF's just been so amazing. So
I mean, I feel like MJF needs to be
it's
2-0 against Punk, though.
but we're finally going to see the Summer of Punk edition Punk come out though.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing, is that he finally awakened that sleeping giant. And we thought Piper and Valentine was brutal. This is gonna be the hold my beer match right here, as far as dog collar matches go. So I'm gonna put my lot in with Punk that he finally gets the upper hand in this thing, because that'll put it at 1-1, and then you have to have a third match.
I'll go the opposite just to do it, Greg, because I'm wondering if they'll play. Maybe Punk still has that little bit of sympathy in him, so maybe MJF is like trying to call off the dogs,
Uh-huh.
and then you have MJF do one more low blow or something like. I could see MJF sneaking out some sort of win that maybe then that does make it probably makes Punk look a little dumb, but at the same time, I feel like you got to have the. I feel like MJF being 2-0 against Punk, I still think you could get a third match out of it somehow. I still feel like this might go 3, but what kind of I don't know what stakes you'll add to that last one, but yeah, I'm gonna say MJF. I'm not confident, but I still feel like there's some route you could go that Punk still has some sympathy for him somehow.
Uh-huh.
After all this, I know it sounds really bad, and maybe they won't play that, but it is one of those tropes that always comes back, Greg, like for a face, But anyway, so I'm gonna say MJF on that one. This one I'm going Jurassic Express. Like I said, I think Young Bucks and Red Dragon kind of cancel each other out in a way. I think we'll get some trilogy of matches between them, next. And I think your boys, Proud and Powerful, though, they need to take off the tag titles soon of, Jurassic Express. I love Jungle Boy. I love Luchasaurus. I think they have a place in, AEW, but, we need Proud and Powerful to get those tag straps, especially now that Inner Circle's all done. You need something for them. So, like I said, I think Young Bucks, and I think it'll be a fun match. All these guys have wrestled each other who knows how many times. So
Right.
DWG, right, and New Japan. So I think we'll see a lot of counters and flying and aerials, and if there's a bet on how many aerials, I'm sure it's over 50.
No doubt.
Over 20, but
Over 50 super kicks.
50 super kicks, yes. I love the high-low by Red Dragon, which makes me think of the Eliminators. Back in ECW, they used to hit the total elimination. That's just a fun double team move. So, but this is all Jurassic Express, right? Maybe they can maybe Jungle Boy pins one of the Red Dragon, and then Luchasaurus pins a Young Buck to kind of play that up, so they both lost in a way. So, who are you going for, Greg, in this tag team championship?
Yeah, I agree that Red Dragon and the Bucks kind of ruin it for each other, and and the Jurassic Express just capitalize on it. So, yeah, I'm with you on that.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then we got Jade and Tay Conti. There's a little more heat to this one than Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, isn't there? Which is kind of funny to say, but it just feels like Britt and Thunder don't have that juice to what I thought they'd be. I mean, this is all Jade winning, obviously, but I still think Tay will put up a little bit of a fight that will give some, that little smidge of doubt maybe to Jade's, title run. But this is all Jade.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Britt and Thunder, Greg. I'll let you go first, and you take the reins on this one.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it has the juice that it should have? I've seen a lot of people tweeting that out, and I kind of agree with it.
Yeah, it really hasn't got the shine it deserves. It's been kind of an afterthought. And with their history, they needed to do a lot more with it.
Well, is that the thing too? Like the lights out match, kind of. I mean, that should have been the end all be all, right? And you've thrown that. Isn't that's almost a year? Well, what was that? Summer of last year, I think.
Right. So now, how are you going to top that? And I think the way you make up for it is that this is Thunder Rosa's moment, and she's going to get the win. So,
with the title or just like reign. DQ?
No, I think she actually wins the title.
Okay.
Britt's had a nice long reign, and she's lost some of her, killer instinct. I think running with the pack that she has. Yeah. So this could be the thing that fires her back up. You throw her back into chasing the championship instead of being the champ. So I'm going to go ahead and call it for Thunder Rosa.
Well, you just talked me into it. I'm going to say it too. Why not? It probably is time for you to change it. And that might give it more juice down the road. But it is weird that this just has no heat into it. Like I forgot that this was even happening for a minute, And I mean, and then we got our final. The Battle of Adam. Maybe we can have Adam on a pole match. Kind of fight this. I do think the Dynamite gave the taking out the Dark Order gives it a little more steam, but this one too is a little weird that I think we have so many other single matches that seem to have a little bit more. MJF and CM Punk, Bryan Danielson and Moxley. I mean, even the Eddie Kingston and Jericho now. Yeah. And now this one has almost felt like an afterthought. But this is still going to be a good win for Hangman, I think, to overcome Adam Cole, and kind of continue his reign. I mean, Adam Cole is going to win the AEW title at some point, let's face it. But it's probably whenever Red Dragon wins the tag team titles. I think that's when you kind of pull that trigger. So I'm all in on Hangman. I've loved him so much. And I just, I think this will be a good wrestling style match for Hangman to kind of win. And then again, when we looked at Hangman's reign, I mean, he's had 2 classic bouts with Bryan Danielson. Then you throw in the Lance Archer Texas death match. I mean, what were you supposed to, how could you follow those up? That's a lot of juice there to follow up on. Yeah. So it's probably not that surprising that this is lacking a little something to it.
Yeah, agreed. And this is my biggest complaint about AEW right now is that, like I said before, if that's one of the few things that WWE is doing better than AEW is that when you're watching the show, SmackDown is the Roman Reigns show. Everything is centered around Roman Reigns. So you can watch any episode during the whole year, and it's going to be centered around Roman Reigns. You're going to have multiple segments, mentions, or screen captures of Roman Reigns. Him doing something, saying something, somebody talking about him. And it's very centered on the champion. Same thing about Raw, Brock Lesnar. He's not on the screen. Somebody's talking about him. Somebody's talking up his match. And at all times who the man is. Who everybody on the show is chasing. But in AEW, it's not that way. There's the problem with having so much talent spread everywhere is that there's episodes of Dynamite that they don't mention Adam Page. You don't see Adam Page, and he gets lost in the shuffle. And your world champion should not get lost in the shuffle. So the show should be centered around him. He's the man. He holds big platinum, and he's not getting.
Are you calling it for Adam Cole?
Enough time. What?
Are you calling it for Adam Cole?
No, I'm not calling for. Can't do that yet.
I was like, after all that, no.
But you still need to establish that Adam Cole is the man more. You have all the talent in the world, but we still need to leave every broadcast knowing Adam Page is the man. And this is the guy everybody wants to catch. So I like this match. It's going to be a great match. I'm sure of it. But I got to stay with Hangman. Like I said, he's had 3 epic matches so far. But they've been kind of overshadowed by other stuff on the card just because they don't celebrate him enough as the champion.
All right. Well, that is our Revolution prediction. I'm looking forward to it. Like we said, we got so many damn good singles matches, Greg, to look forward to. And that's, that's like really impressive. And then we'll talk up our March Madness of Champions. So we're going to do it. We're going to fall in the old the old tradition of everyone has to have a March Madness bracket, Greg. So we're going to have our own, and maybe we could screen share some of the stuff that our champions will be moving on. So essentially what we're going to do for our March Madness tournament is every champion is going to get another champion to face up against. And we're expanding to GCW and New Japan as well. We got our matchups ready. So the first weekend of March Madness, we'll throw out our polls, Greg, and people can vote in Superkickin it with Stephen Page, and we'll see who moves on. We got some juicy. Maybe next week we'll talk up our matchups once we make sure we're all finalized, and then that way that leads into, because next week would be Selection Sunday, so that kind of makes sense if we talk up who we're throwing in our tournament, and then the next week we can open up the voting. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good to me. All
right. Well, we will end the broadcast here. There is a random person in the chat. I never know who these random people are in the chat, but there you go. Rural Life. I don't know. Anyways,
okay.
Our YouTube page gets some interesting names in there. So enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the next coming week, because this is all the championship week for all the basketball. I've not watched 1 minute of college basketball, but hey, we all make a bracket. We all make some picks. So maybe we'll talk that up after next week too. So, all right. Well, have a good one, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Peace.